Hey guys, it's Chantel and we are at the start of the Reading Rush week, I guess, here. I'm going to try to do a quick little reading vlog update every day. We will see how that goes. Yeah, see if life gets in the way or not. So far, you know, we are mostly through the first day here and things are going well because I read a book already. Well, okay, I didn't actually read anything today. I listened to a book, so that still counts. And it is The Red Pencil. This is the one I picked when I was choosing my TBR for a book that is set on a different continent than you. So this one takes place in Sudan. It is a middle grade free verse novel. And it has lots of pictures. Yeah, so I listened to this today while I was exercising and making food and cleaning things, doing that kind of stuff. And overall, I think it was pretty good. Our main character lives in kind of like war-torn Sudan, and she gets a pencil and learns how to write, and talks about like the power of education. This reminds me a lot of kind of like a cross between Sharon Creech's Heartbeat and A Long Walk to Water. Yeah, so I enjoyed that one. And then for this evening, I'm probably going to pick up The Mystery of the Blue Train. This is the one that I chose for a book that starts with the, I think. And then after, since I finished my other audiobook, I am going to read or listen to The Siren over the next few days when I'm exercising and stuff. This is by Cora. I think it's like a mermaid tale. Honestly, I've had it for a long time and it was on my shelf, and I accidentally picked this for the first book that you touch. So I went with this one, I guess. Yeah, so far, I guess I have 7 books picked for the week. I really don't think I'll actually get to 7, but since I finished 1 already and the day's not over, things are looking pretty good. So maybe I can get 7 books in. Okay, so this reading rush is not going as well as I had hoped. I was hoping I could like hop on and do a quick little couple-minute video every day and say how things are going, and I have had it like a really busy week so far. It's only Wednesday. We have a couple different social worker video phone calls and stuff this week, and my kids had eye doctor appointments this morning, and I just feel like we've been cooped up inside for months on end, and all of a sudden everything's happening today. Or this week. So I didn't finish any books yesterday, but I did read a bit of The Murder of the Blue Train. I'm on page 136 out of like 220 something. I'm hoping I can get this done today. If I don't, like when I chose my TBR for this week, I wasn't expecting to read 7 books, but then my reading has gone really well this month, so then I thought maybe I can get 7 books done. And so now I want to try to make that happen. So yeah, so far this is my least favorite Agatha Christie I've ever read. It took probably like almost 100 pages before the actual mystery happened. And I don't know, it just doesn't feel as well written as hers. I thought maybe this was one of her first. And I mean, I think it was like her 8th book written, which is still, I guess, one of her first. But The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, which is my favorite of hers so far, was written earlier than this, so I feel like I can't use that as an excuse. But yeah, so we'll see. I love this book though. I love the vintage feel, and then like the red pages. I don't know, it's very 70s feeling. So yeah, there's that. And then I am listening to The Siren, which is a mermaid tale. This is like a YA. I think there's a boy that appeared, so like there's that. I don't read a lot of YA, but I'm very interested in siren tales or like mermaid stories because I grew up thinking like Ariel was this like sweet girl and that's what mermaids were. And it hasn't been like until the last few years where I realized the mermaids that were originally created, which I'm assuming The Little Mermaid is an actual like story, right? Who wrote that? I don't know. I'll look that up. But I didn't realize like mermaids were actually kind of like evil creatures. And so now I'm just intrigued to read some stories. I did read Coral by Sarah Ella back in like April, and I have a reading vlog where I talked about that. I liked a lot of it. That wasn't really about mermaids. It was kind of fantastic. Well, it was like the person in the story was writing a story about mermaids. That's kind of like the only other mermaid thing I've read. So this one so far is interesting. We follow a girl who was swallowed by the ocean. I guess she was drowning, and had the choice to decide to be a siren for 100 years or to die in the ocean. And so she chose to be a siren, which means she, when the ocean is hungry, has to sing, and then, you know, boat accidents happen and people die, and that feeds the ocean. It's really weird. But I want to read like original mermaid tales. But so yeah, so far I'm listening to this. It's super easy to listen to. It's not hard. Yeah, so we'll see. It's very different than anything I normally read, that's for sure. And then when my kids were at the eye doctor, and then I spent a little bit of time outside today, this is A Slow and Certain Light by Elizabeth Elliot. This is my book to read outside of my home. So I'm going to read it outside in my backyard and wherever else I go. I'm hoping to go to the spray park tomorrow with my kids because it's been hot this week. And then hopefully I can finish this. It is just over 100 pages. And so far I've been like highlighting all the things well, I've really pretty much only read the introduction so far, but I love Elizabeth Elliot. She has such a story, like for her to be so faithful and write and like, I don't know, just trust and believe and love God after like all the things that she went through. She is just one of my superheroes, I guess. So I'm hoping that in the next 24 hours I can have finished 2 of these books, and then hopefully read 1 more yet. So I finished 1. If I could finish these 3 plus 1 more, I feel like that would be a success for my week. So that's going to be my goal. Yeah, I guess I will check back tomorrow, maybe, hopefully. Okay, so things are looking a little better now. I did end up finishing The Mystery of the Blue Train. I didn't predict the end once again. Like I would be a terrible detective, as much as that has kind of always been my secret ambition in life. It's not gonna happen. I had no idea what was going on. I honestly don't think this one was as well written as most of her other books. So that might have something to do with it as well. It wasn't quite as interesting as her other ones, but once again, I had no idea what was going on. So there was that one. And then I just finished The Siren today. So I guess a siren isn't exactly like a mermaid. It's something different. Anyway, I really enjoyed this book. So it's YA, I don't know, it's a teen book, a YA book, but, and it's like a love story, but it's really well done. And I know, like, I have issues with Christian romance books, and I hold other like love stories to a different standard, I guess, but I really actually enjoyed this one a lot. Okay, what else have I been reading? So I started my poetry book, which was the one that I chose for something that type of book that I want to read more of. So I have this Dickinson book, which I'm about halfway through. I like her poetry because she uses short words, short sentences, like each line is really short. Her poems are not like page upon page upon page, they're quite short as well, and like I feel like she just gets to the point really quickly. So I really like hers. Plus she writes a lot about nature poetry, which I enjoy. I do have a goal this year to write 12 poems, which I have not done yet, but I do think I will kind of take after her style a bit when I do write those. Then I had been hoping to read more of this today when I went to the spray park with the kids, but turns out I just had to follow the toddler around everywhere and I didn't even pick the book up. So hopefully I can read this outside in the next couple of days and finish this one. So I have like 3/4 of this left, half of this left, and then I started In the Shadow of Lions last night, and honestly I started falling asleep, so I didn't get very far in, but I'm confused as to what's going on. Now it might be because I like fell asleep 5 times in the first few pages, but we're like following, there's like some kind of scribe that comes into someone's hospital room and makes them write out a story, and then we like flash back to this one point in time following this one person, and then we flash to like Henry VIII and his wives and that time period, and I'm confused as to what's going on here. I'm 90 pages in and not sure what's going on. Yeah, and so I'm reading these 3, and then I have not started the Tales of King Arthur, which is my last book. So I finished 3 out of 7 so far, and I'm partway done 3 more. So that's not looking too bad, I think, so far for the week. We have, today's Thursday, so we have Friday, Saturday, Sunday left. I will hopefully at least get these 3 done, so that's pretty good. And I'm definitely like forcing myself to read more this week because of Reading Rush. But I'm also still working and, you know, hanging out with my kids and doing appointments and random things. So it's not like I'm not living life as well. And I'm still getting quite a bit of reading done. So it's a pretty good week. Okay, so I did a little bit of rearranging with the bookshelves today. I wanted this area, because this is kind of like prominent when I am doing videos here, I wanted this to be books that I've loved lately, and I realized I don't own a ton of them. Yeah, so I just kind of need to finish filling this out a little bit. I have like my Agatha Christie #1 Ladies Detective Agency like mystery books over there by the other chair that I sometimes record by. But yeah, I need to kind of like get more books over here. Anyway, that's off topic. Books. I finished the poetry of Emily Dickinson today. Yeah. Oh man, the days are so weird in the summer. I have no idea. I think she's my favorite poet. I love her short little lines, and yeah, I'm thinking about when I do my like 12 poems thing, like maybe recording the process a little bit. I don't know how, just an idea, but reading poetry makes me want to write poetry. And I wrote a lot of poetry as a teen, probably like when I was like 15, 16. And I mean like 15, 16-year-old Chantel, maybe a little angsty and stuff. But I do remember even putting some up online. I think it was like a poetry website, not that I would remember what it was called now or if it was even still up. But I have no record of the poems that I wrote back then, and I wish that I would have. Like, I wish, I don't know, maybe it was terrible and cringeworthy, and maybe I don't wish, but like I'd kind of like to read it a little bit. Yeah, so that one's done. So then I have finished this. I finished the Siren. I finished the Red Pencil. So I'm done 3. Reading the Elizabeth Elliot. Reading The Shadow of the Lions. And I'm missing a book. Okay, I'm totally blanking on a book here. Editing Chantel's gonna be laughing at me because just, it's gone. Anyway, I'm reading this one, so I didn't get a whole lot farther. I'm 110 pages in. I read the back a little more. Like normally I only like to read the first paragraph, but I read like the full back because I figure by page 110 there shouldn't really be anything too surprising on the back. I really don't like going into a book knowing what's going on. Like I feel like some booktubers, they like haul a book and they're like, yeah, I got this book and it's about this, and then this happens, and then this guy does this thing, and then this and this, and I'm like, what's the point in even reading the book? You just know everything already. So I don't like that. But apparently this is about, so we're following mostly 2 different women. One is Anne Boleyn, like Henry VIII's second wife, and we are following a girl who is like a servant, and she is a servant for Thomas More, who he is, I think, fights the Protestant Reformation. So yeah, I think this is something to do with that yet. I don't really know like very much yet, even though I'm about a third of the way through. It's okay. I don't know. I feel like the topic is really interesting and it could be really good, but so far I just feel like it's okay. And okay, I gotta think of this. Shadow of the Lions, Emily Dickinson, Elizabeth Elliot, King Arthur I haven't started yet, Red Pencil, The Siren. What's the other book? Have you ever read a book and like forgot about it like 3 days later? Cause I have. Okay, so embarrassing. I totally had to look that up. It was the Agatha Christie, The Murder on the Blue Train. Obviously that one didn't hit the spot for me because yeah, I totally forgot about it. That was book number 7. So I've actually finished 4 books and am halfway done 2. Well, not quite halfway done. And haven't started 1. I did start listening to a book, I think it's called The Stepsister or Stepsisters. After reading The Siren, it reminded me like I really enjoy like fairy tale retellings. It's called Stepsister. It's by Jennifer Donnelly. This one was like apparently for fans of The Siren was for fans of Stepsister. That's how I'm trying to say it. And so yeah, it's following like Cinderella's stepsister. So far it's like just barely started. The beginning is pretty much just the story of Cinderella, except much more gruesome, which is, you know, how fairy tales were originally written. I don't know the story of Cinderella, like the original. Once again, that's like another one I need to look up. But in this one, it starts out like the stepsisters are trying to get their like feet in the glass slippers, but their feet are too big, so they actually like cut off their toes. So yeah, crazy violent. Like they do it to themselves. I'm only 8% done. Anyway, I'm thinking maybe I will like replace that one with King Arthur. I don't know. I don't think that I'm going to get to King Arthur. And I don't know if I'll get Stepsister done either. But I can't find an audiobook for King Arthur. And I just, yeah. We'll see where this goes. But I feel like I'm doing pretty good, all things considered. Okay, so we are, I guess, finished the reading rush. There is still a few hours left in the day, but I think I've done all the reading rush reading I'm going to do for the day, so I'm just gonna do a like final wrap up here. So last night I finished In the Shadow of Lions. And I feel like my every time I've talked about this book so far, it's kind of all over the place, and that's because the book is all over the place. So I finally like figured out what was going on at the end of the book. And I feel like it was such a interesting idea, but it like failed so miserably. Honestly, I think I'm going to give this book, I'm like waffling between a 1 and a 2 star right now. Wind is making my door wiggle and it sounds like someone's trying to break in. Oh man, okay, so the main idea behind this book is we are following, or you know, like in the background there's William Tyndale. He's publishing the Bible into English for the first time from Latin, and there's an outroar because of that and how the commoner and the woman should not be reading the Bible. Like this is like, you know, true here, that this is what happened, that people thought women shouldn't read the Bible, it should be in Latin, and that should just be for the priests. And yeah, so that part's good. But it's like all the characters in here, I don't know, I just feel like it was taken very much out of context. So we follow Anne as she is becoming married to Henry VIII. And it kind of like makes her out to be this very religious woman because she won't sleep with Henry because they're not married. But at the same time, she's pushing for him to divorce his wife and get that all on the up and up in the church, I guess. So there's all that, which really bothers me. And then yeah, this other character that we follow that is set in the same time as Henry VIII, that storyline just felt like really weird and all over the place, and I always felt like so confused flipping between, there's like the person that's writing out the story, and then we flip into history with these other two characters, and there was never like any true indication who we were following. Like sometimes like it had a lot of these little symbols in between sections, but sometimes we would be following the same character, and all of a sudden another time we're like following a different character, but it doesn't, like, it's not clearly labeled which character we're flipping between. So it felt poorly written, and history felt, most of it was taken out of context or added to, or yeah, I really did not like this. I wouldn't recommend reading it. So there was that one. And then today I did finish A Slow and Certain Light. I was reading this outside. It was like really windy, so yeah. Elizabeth Elliot, I like her a lot. This book started out really good, got a little dry, but then like got really good again. I was highlighting a lot of different things and doggy-eared a few pages of this book actually. It was given to me by a friend who, I guess it was originally a library copy, but like the whole book is just like broken and about to bust out. So after this I'm gonna like try to hot glue that back together because I really want to keep this. But there were a few really good portions. This one section was talking about taking up our cross. It says, if any man would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. Jesus' words imply there is a cross that is meant for each individual. It is peculiar to him, something that no one else could take up for him, even if he wanted to. And then the other part that really jumped out at me was talking about getting a word from God. Oh, now that just busted right out. Getting a word from God, and says we are going along in life doing the usual things. When suddenly we come up against a thing we're not sure about, we need guidance. The temptation is to stop everything and ask for a sign. And then it talks a little bit about that, but this says, but far more often we find God leading men while they're doing what they're normally supposed to do. David was taking care of sheep, the boy Samuel was serving in the temple, Matthew was collecting taxes. Do the next thing is one of the best pieces of advice I have ever had. It works in any kind of situation and is especially helpful when we don't know what to do. What if we don't know what the next thing is? We can find something. Some duty lies on our doorstep. The rule is do it. The doing of that thing may open our eyes to the next thing. I really like that because I especially find like with fostering, and then we have adopted in the past, I don't know, people seem to think that they like really need a sign from God to do these things, when it's like, if I feel like if you kind of feel like you would like to foster, go for it. Like if God doesn't want you to do it, he will like put a wall in place so you cannot do it. But he commands us in the Bible to take care of the orphan and, you know, like the underdog, and he says that there we don't need a specific sign to do it. Yeah, I get a little bit worked up when people say, oh, they would like to, but this and that and other thing. Like they always have some kind of excuse. And yeah, this book was really good. I'm going to be keeping this and putting it on my shelf. So that is the end of Reading Rush. I did not pick up this book at all, so I didn't complete a book for the book that is also a movie prompt, which makes sense because I don't watch movies, so I'm okay with that prompt not getting fulfilled. But over the course of 7 days, I did manage to read 6 books. I think that's really good. This isn't, I definitely pushed myself to read more. I wouldn't want to read this much every day or every week. But that being said, a lot of these books were not really my like comfort zone pick. Honestly, like it's so windy. It just keeps moving the door back. yeah, like, I mean, Agatha Christie normally is a really easy read, but this one was not that great. And I like Christian nonfiction. All of these were definitely a push. Yeah, so I'm excited to do Reading Rush again next year. And then I guess now what I will do is I will work on finishing my July TBR before the end of the month. Which means I have, what is it, 5 days? What day is today? 26th? I have the 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st, and a little bit of today, so 5 and a bit days to read 400 pages of Middlemarch. And if I can get that done, I would also like to finish the last Mistborn book. So we will see if I can manage all that. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'm really curious to see how you all did for Reading Rush, and let's just talk books in the comments like always.